Welcome to Custom Crafts and More. My name is Karen. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. If you're coming over from another channel on the playlist for today, welcome as well. Please like and subscribe. So today we have a Flippin' Frenzy collaboration with Sonnet Garden Blooms creative group. So here I am unboxing the goodies that I received from Connie over at the Painted Photographer. So each of us sent another creative a box of items from our stash, and we were tasked with using all or some of these items to create for this video. So this is very fun, being able to send items to each other and open up a surprise box to see what we got. So Connie sent me a bunch of items here, including a paint inlay and one of her rice papers. So right away, when I opened them, I knew what I had wanted to do with some of these items. She also included a little note for me that I'll share with you. So we're going to jump right into this. So I did prep first on a lot of these items. So I used DIY uh, cottage colors. I believe this is the vintage linen color. It's their white color. So this DIY paint has the built-in sealer, and I wanted to be able to cover up the snowman on this pail, give this bottle a good coat of white. Each of these took 2 to 3 coats to get the coverage I wanted. But I wanted to do all the prep at one time instead of breaking this up so that everything could dry and be done. Um, Once again, like I said, everything took 2 or 3 good coats of this white. The cottage colors, like I said, have the built-in sealer. Now, I did tape off the inside of this frame. I don't think you can see it in the video, but I tend to be a little bit of a sloppy painter, so I wanted to keep the color of the frame and make sure I didn't have to sand off any paint, since the built-in sealer doesn't allow for you to wipe this paint off. The butterfly, I used a black paint from DIY. I don't know if this was black velvet or little black dress. It was from one of Sonnet's Maker's Box, but I'm going to link the Painted Photographer in my description box because you can get the DIY paint from her. So once all that prep was done, project one is the butterfly. So I wanted to have just a little bit of relaxing fun, so to speak, painting all the little pieces on this butterfly to give it some color. The gold was okay, but not really my style. I like color, and this might have been more of a task than I wanted to take on, but what I just did was I took Queen Bee from DIY and Summer Crush, and also the DIY cottage color white once again. And I just started randomly coloring or painting in parts of that butterfly. So let you just kind of watch as I paint parts of it. I believe I only videoed using the queen bee on this. I will tell you this paint job wasn't perfect, which is a downfall for me because I want everything to be perfect and I have to remind myself that it's always not. Um, so I did go in with 2 coats of each color on this, and then I did touch up just a few of the black areas, but I didn't video that to just make it look a little less messy, but definitely still not perfect, and perfect wasn't really what I was going for on this anyway. So you see I'm just pulling off some of the extra paint that came into the side. So this is what the butterfly looked when I had finished 2 coats of the colors of each color. I then took some DIY Big Top to seal this in, since the DIY paint is water soluble. And that Queen Bee and that Orange Crush were regular DIY paint and not the cottage colors. So you'll see the final reveal of this at the end. But after I did that, I went to work on the frame. So I positioned my butterfly kind of where I wanted him to sit. As you see, I had the bungalow transfer. I had bought this transfer with good intentions, maybe, probably more just to the hype of a release. And I haven't touched it. I want to say this transfer is like 2 years old. So I decided to cut out one of the green leaf pieces, and I cut it apart so that I could just put a background behind this butterfly. So as you see, I'm just kind of deciding where I want each piece. Once again, this was kind of a whole palm leaf type thing, but I wanted to just use pieces of it just to have some green behind that butterfly. So once I got everything positioned where I wanted it, I took the white backer off of the transfer and laid it down where I had wanted it. And then I used a transfer stick to begin applying. I did double check just to make sure I had that in the right place. So transfers are very easy to use, especially the iron orchid design ones or IOD. So you remove that white backing, lay it down, and then use your transfer stick. You do want to make sure that your paint is completely dry and sealed for the best or easiest transfers. You can see here the little piece, I had a little trouble picking it up. Tried to use the little Cricut tool and my finger, but I was finally able to grab a hold of that white or clear transfer sheet and pick it up. And as I did, you can see the transfer start to come off of that sheet. And then you can just slowly pull it up as you press down on your transfer. The transfers do need to be sealed. This piece, I probably could have got away without sealing it because it's not going to be touched or scrubbed or cleaned. But I did, after I was done applying each transfer, put a coat of Big Top on this. So as you can see, once again, I had a little trouble picking up that transfer sheet again. Just the smaller ones are a little tough to grab a corner and get it off. So I didn't video putting every one of these pieces down, but each one is applied to the same, and then I would take that transfer sheet and just kind of burnish it down a little bit. So once again, the reveal will be at the end. So project 2 was this bottle. So Connie from the Painted Photographer has been doing these bottles kind of with an antique look. So I wanted to use the paint inlay on here. So even though it was painted white, I just used Big Top and put a good layer of Big Top down after I had spritzed my transfer and then laid it on the bottle. Once I had pushed out all the wrinkles, I spritzed that transfer again on the bottle and then just dabbed it a little bit. Once it was dry, and you can see how that color kind of changed and you knew it was dry, I spritzed my plate inlay again and just dabbed it a little bit, let that water soak in, and then I just went from a corner that I could get up and I slowly pulled away, and you can see how that paint inlay is into the paint. Now I did have a few spots where it didn't come down and the paint came off, which is okay because we were going to do the Painted Photographer's technique of kind of antiquing, making this bottle look like fake rust. Now this is very out of my element, so I'm not sure I love it, but it was definitely fun to try this technique after watching Connie on her channel. So I took layered chocolate and started kind of dabbing it around the top and then spritzing with water to make it run down. And I'm sorry about this camera angle, but you know, just kept layering and spritzing, letting that run down, getting some kind of thick paint on it. You can see how I was running, and then I did the same with the bottom and spritzed that. Now I believe the Painted Photographer uses fire starter. I didn't have fire starter, so I used Orange Crush. Now I'm going to tell you, normally if I don't have exactly what somebody else used, I tend to shy away from the project, but I told myself I was going to work with what I had for a change and go with it. So I kept patting it dry, spritzing, adding paints, and just trying to get that look to where I liked it. And to me, it looked like that old pottery. So, we're just continuing with the layers on it and spritzing this. I did have plastic down so that my drop cloth didn't get wet. The water did puddle down there, but that was okay. So, as you see, I ended up using a paper towel and it was a lot of water down there, and I just kept going and going until I was somewhat happy. In between, I would dry. I'm sorry, this is completely out of frame, but I would dry it so that some of those runs or the darker part would stay there. And you can see on here I had started adding that summer crush on there in spots. And then I just kept doing the same technique with the water and blotting it and drying it as I went until I got a look I was happy with. Now, I will tell you, I probably used a little too much water because some of my white paint did come off, but I felt like that just added to the kind of antique-y look of it. So, and once again, you can see what the final project looked like at the end of this video. So, project 3, you didn't see any prep on this one at the beginning, but I used that either salt or pepper shaker and created kind of a candlestick. So these wood rounds were all out of my stash. I think the one with the letter came from Joann's in a clearance section. This one I believe came from the Dollar Tree. So I started off with some wood glue and I covered up that letter with the other round and made kind of a pedestal for the bottom. I do off camera fill in that hole with some air dry clay after I had stained it and stuff. So I take the salt or pepper shaker and I'm using some fusion paint in French eggshell. I do sell this in my booth at LoneStar Mercantile in Allen, Texas. I'll leave a link for their website. They do have the paint on there. And so I ended up giving this 2 good coats. Fusion mineral paint has a sealer built in, so I did not have to seal this. I did distress it just a little bit after my 2 good coats dried. But you can see the coverage was pretty good with 1 coat, but I wanted that full coverage with just a light distress at the end. And then I used DIY's Dark and Decrepit to stain my wood rounds. You can water this down a little bit, make it a little lighter. I applied it at full strength with a brush all around. Now, this piece of wood was a little darker than the other pieces, so I do have kind of a two-tone look on the top and the bottom, but I was okay with that. So then I just wiped the excess away with a paper towel or shop towel. Now, when I did the bottom of this, I made sure to not completely do the bottom. I left a circle in the middle that was about the size of the salt and pepper shaker so that I was gluing wood to wood and not wood to stain when I put these together. So I did the same thing and wiped off, and I didn't record it. Here you can see I was just kind of checking to make sure I had gotten everything. I do the same thing to the bottom piece as well. Project 4 was this bucket. You saw me paint it white at the beginning, and then I decided I wanted that French eggshell on it, so I did repaint it. Now here I have a piece of burlap, and I'm gonna kind of layer a little sign that says bunny bait. So I know it's a little hard to see at the bottom there, but what I do is I kind of find where I want to cut the burlap, pull a string out, and then I'm able to cut a straight line. So here I use the apothecary stamps from IOD. I believe Connie at the Painted Photographer also carries IOD on her website. So like I said, I will link that below since she was the one who sent me this stuff. And I pulled out the letters to spell bunny bait. And I had also cut a little piece of drop cloth to fit on top of that burlap to create those layers. So I laid my words out, or my letters out where I wanted them, and then I have a small piece cut that I'm able to line my letters up on. So you can see I'm just using the lines on there to make sure that it's straight. I didn't need it completely straight. I wanted kind of an antique-y, just, you know, not messy, but not perfect look to this sign as well. So I stamped the word bait using Stays On black ink. And then I lined up my letters for bunny. There's only one N in this set, so I did have to stamp the word bunny with only one N and then go back and fill in that N. However, the lines on this little piece allowed me to perfectly line that up and be able to use the N. So as you'll see, I have bunny bait on there. And then later on, I will hot glue those to the bucket. So you'll see I have some carrots and a little bunny butt there. So I'll be using those in there. So measuring the styrofoam and cutting it, I just have an old kitchen knife I keep in my craft room that I can cut through the styrofoam. So I just kept measuring and seeing how much I had to take off. The bucket was already kind of bent up in an odd shape. So that really kind of lent to this, excuse me, the look I was going for here of, you know, just not perfect. So once I got that, I pushed that down in there. And then I was able to take this little bunny butt, which I believe came from the Dollar Tree at some point. I'm not sure if they still have them. Now you'll see in the final reveal, I decided this one was too big and I went for a smaller one, which I believe either came from Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree, but it was in my stash, so I'm not 100% sure. So once I kind of figured out where I wanted that, I had these carrots in my stash from the Dollar Tree that I just pushed down into the foam. So here are our final projects. As you see, like I said, I did change the bunny and the bunny bait, and I just used some paper shred to cover up that styrofoam in there. There is the end result for our little pottery-like jar. So thank you for joining us. Please make sure that you go to the playlist in the description and watch all the creators who were part of this collab this week. And we'll see you next week with another video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell for notifications when we do post another video.